Hey everyone, Eric here. In this video, I wanted to take a little bit closer look and dissect the Marshall Plexi circuit. Now this is my Rocket Retro RR100. What I wanted to do in this video is go over these 4 inputs right here. And actually in this video, we're gonna go over the 2 different channels that are on a Plexi style circuit. Again, this is my Rocket Retro RR100. It is a Marshall Plexi replica, commonly known as the Marshall Plexi, but it's actually the Marshall 1959 model Superlead. So it's a 100 watt Superlead Marshall from the late 60s, which is also confusing because Marshall named the Superlead the 1959, but it was actually introduced in the late 60s. So it adds to the confusion. But again, in this video, I wanted to go over the 2 different channels. So there is a bright channel and a normal channel, and both channels have high and low inputs. We'll get into that in another video, but in this video, I wanted to go over the differences in the bright and normal channel. Before I get too rambly, I enlisted the help of my friend Jason over at Fuzzlord Effects. He is an electrical engineer. He understands the schematics. He understands a lot of things that I don't about electronics, and he can convey them. So I thought I'd have him help explain what's going on in these 2 different channels, and hopefully we can get a little bit better understanding. And throughout this video, I'm gonna splice in some playing clips just to hear the difference between the 2 channels with all the knobs on the amp set the same. So let's go head over to the Fuzzlord shop and hear Jason explain the difference circuit-wise between the bright and normal channel, or channel 1 and channel 2 on the Plexi.
So we're checking out your 100 watt amp here that I believe is you said it was a clone of a
1959. The circuit is 1959. The Superlead came out in 1965, so it's very confusing.
So confusing. And this was maybe a Rocket Retro.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people ask that question, like, what's the difference between the 2 different inputs, like the bright channel versus the normal channel? And there's kind of like 2 distinct things going on. Looking at the schematic here, this is the schematic of the 1959 model Plexi. That's what we all kind of call
Plexi
this amp. So both of these input channels go to the same tube, which is like a 12AX7. That's what these amps use, 12AX7. But the way we gotta look at it is there's actually 2 different gain stages in a 12AX7, and the bright channel goes to its own gain stage, this side right here, and the normal goes to its own gain stage. It's drawn as 1 tube because physically it is 1 tube, but basically what's happening is these 2 different gain stages, let's call it this one, this is the normal, and this one's the bright. Excuse my handwriting. The normal channel is biased differently than the bright channel. So this has an 820 ohm resistor coming off the cathode to ground and 250 microfarad cathode bypass cap. So it's pretty hot bias for a tube gain stage, and then this 250 microfarad cap here lets a lot of gain be introduced to the circuit, but it's an even frequency response. It lets like bass through, lets mids and treble.
And that's on the normal channel.
That's on the normal channel. So let's compare that to the bright channel now, which 2 things are going on. It's biased colder. It's a 2.7K cathode resistor coming off the cathode going to ground. That helps set how much idle current is going through that gain stage. So that's the bias. And then instead of a big old 250 microfarad cathode bypass cap, we have a 0.68 microfarad. So what that does is it makes that gain stage not amplify the bass frequencies as much. It focuses more on the mids and the highs. So that's half of the story about why these two channels sound so much different.
The bias of each channel.
The bias of each channel, and then also the cathode bypass cap of the normal channel lets pretty much all the frequencies through. And then on the bright channel, that 0.68 cathode bypass cap accentuates the gain on the mids and treble a lot more.
Okay.
That's half of the story. The other half is that the normal and the bright channel both have their own volume controls. Of the gain stage for the normal channel, we're going through a 0.022 or 0.022 microfarad cap, which is a really standard value, into a volume pot, and then it goes to the next stage. Pretty simple. On the bright channel, it further limits the bass. It's a 0.0022 microfarad, so that is 2.2 nanofarad. That's again restricting a lot of bass from getting through the circuit, making it brighter. And then when we go through the volume pot right here of the bright channel, we have a 500 picofarad like treble bleed cap. It's like a treble bleed model on a guitar. It's like the bright cap on like Fender amps. And then also, when we have these 202 470K resistors that are the mixing resistors of the two channels that blend back in together. On the bright channel, they put a 500 picofarad cap across that blending resistor. So again, high end can like sneak around it. So that's the same thing with that 500 picofarad cap on the volume control. No matter where that, when our volume's turned down and we're like attenuating the signal, the high end can sneak right past it. So again, really bright.
Yeah.
And then same thing on those mixing resistors. So to sum it up again, let's like real quick, the two different gain stages are biased differently, and then the gain of those stages is set in a way toward the normal, lets all the frequencies through. The bright channel accentuates the highs, and then we have the caps coming out of those gain stages to like remove the DC, and it also like sets the frequency response. The one on the bright channel is a lot smaller, so it limits a lot of bass.
Okay.
And then there's like the bright cap on the volume control, and then that other little cap across that mixing resistor. So that is why the bright circuit of a Marshall, or the bright channel of a Marshall, sounds so incredibly bright.
Yeah, so shrill. So is the mod that people do where they take out the bright cap, is that the one in the mixing?
Yeah, I think you could do both, really.
Okay.
Like, one that a lot of people do is they cut that one out right there, because sometimes it's mounted to the back of the pot, so it's really easy to get to.
Yeah.
And then this one right here. On the JTM 45 I was working on last week, that's precise. I cut this one out. I left that bright cap, and then I changed over that cap to like, I don't know, it was like 10 microfarad or something.
Okay.
So
You added more bass in.
I added more bass in and took out the treble bleed caps just to make it a little less ice pick sounding.
Yeah, yeah, because that one's super shrill.
Yeah, that one's super shrill. But this amp sounds really cool, and I'm gonna leave you and your viewers with my last tech tip of the day that anyone can do. You knew it.
Brush.
You gotta get a little soft paintbrush. This is a real cheap one from Home Depot.
Get your amp all nice.
Get your stuff looking nice. Because you can, like, these can get, like, behind the volume knobs and stuff. Anyway, I'll send you a bill for the, for the cleaning.
Yeah, just invoice
I'm kidding. Cool amp, man. Thanks for bringing it by.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed this look at the Marshall Plexi style circuit and the different channels. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, check out all the other gear demos and instructional videos I have here. And if you want to follow me on a daily basis and interact with me a little bit more, you can always head on over to Instagram and follow me at Eric Merrow. Before I get out of here, I want to send a huge thank you to these folks right over here who are my executive producers for my Patreon page. If you'd like to get some behind the scenes content, exclusive content, I'm gonna leave a link in the description below. I can't thank you enough for supporting. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good one. I hope you stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.